When this whole conversation a couple of years ago started about the National Cathedral,
Yeah.
I was very hesitant to comment, and obviously because of my religious inclination as a Muslim,
Yeah.
I felt that Muslims have to be emotionally wise in this conversation, so as not to appear that our faith is informing, our perspective.
Your perspective, yeah.
Much more so because of the narrative of a whole national mosque. And I personally don't even think that we have a national mosque, right? If a Catholic church comes to build an edifice here, a grand edifice, no matter how big it is, it will not be considered as a national mosque for Christians. So the Islamic world in Ghana is as segregated in terms of denominations as the Christian world. And there was no point in time in which there was a consensus that there's a national mosque. It's just because there's the office of the chief imam that we all, so strictly speaking, the chief imam is not my chief imam. I'm an Ahmadi Muslim, and my chief imam, essentially in quotes, is the Amir and missionary in charge, right? Yeah. So that's where I get my instructions, from administratively and all of that, and spiritual guidance and all of that. So the concept of even national mosques is a non-starter, but we all kind of like call it a national mosque, but it's administratively there's not there. It's not a national mosque, But so as I said, I felt that Muslims had to be a bit more circumspect in our report, and I think that largely we have observed a bit level of restraint. It's just now because of current happenings and the way the conversation have dovetailed, and the fact that it is now beginning to emerge that quite some significant public funding will be needed if this thing will become, a reality. It has moved beyond just, a religious, not necessarily edifice, to become a really important national conversation which we must have. Let me also say that initially I understand the value of bold visions and grand edifices, as a man of art and culture and history. I appreciate the Colosseums in Rome, the pyramids in Giza. I understand the place of grand architecture,
the hanging gardens of Babylon.
Yes, So there was a part of me that was excited, just by the concept of it. And I think that if you just take it as a concept, it is exciting. A curation of a center that pays homage to the evolution of Christianity,
exactly.
In Africa, the museum, the experiences, the architect David Ajay with his grand portfolio across the world. So as a concept, I was excited about it. In the same way, I would have been excited if there's a similar concept about curating African traditional religions, the differences, the cultural nuances, because we have so much content and there's not a lot of thought and deliberate effort and passion that goes into curating our stories, right? So from that perspective, I was like, oh well, this is a cool thing. If the Christian community is going to contribute to get it done, I'd even mind if government had to do some facilitation, to ensure, and even to spend a bit of money to ensure that it happens. But now we're at a point where it's been revealed that this is the grand ambition of the project is now going beyond just the fact that it's a Christian edifice to becoming a national tourism monument. So we have to have a deliberate discussion about whether it is, a post facto rationalization that, okay, we wanted to build a cathedral, but we need to justify why we have to spend that money, so we have to bring in that tour. So now we have to discuss it as a tourism project to ask ourselves if it is worth the investment. And for me, I have a very simple formula. If Ghana says that we want to improve our tourism and we want to invest some significant resources, let's say $500 million, and we bring together different minds in the tourism and the creative industries to sit together on a table and really brainstorm about how we can use such an amount of $500 million to transform our tourism potential, do we think we would arrive at a decision to invest in a national cathedral? If we didn't start with what we wanted to do, but started with the amount to say think and give a suggestion, would we have agreed, or would we have even suggested to build a national cathedral? I doubt it. And I say this because there's this singularity of item. So tourism does not just thrive on singularity, it thrives on context. For example, you go to Egypt because Egypt is an ancient civilization. There's not just one pyramid, there's a lot of pyramids, there's museums, there's a lot of things that feeds into that narrative of as an ancient civilization. So you're not going to see one monument, you're going to see several monuments, you're going to experience a lot. Even in Ghana is seen as a Pan-Africanist Mecca because of a lot of things, right? First of all, our role in this heritage tourism, the slave trade experience. So it's not just one castle. We have a lot of castles. We have forts, you know. So there's a history behind that heritage tourism. So when someone is coming to Ghana for that purpose, there's a lot that we indulge in. Now, is there anything about the evolution of Christianity in Ghana that is remarkably different from the revolution of Christianity across other West African countries? Is there a particular unique value proposition that distinguishes Ghanaian Christianity that would serve as a major point of attraction? Because the question I have to ask myself is that would a tourist just say, oh, Ghana has built this wonderful monument, you know, a national cathedral. Because of that, I would want to come and see it. When people are already coming in, they are going to mark out the things they want to do. If there's a cathedral and there's a whole narrative about it, they would want to see it. But would the cathedral in and of itself, you know, drive mass exodus, you know, into this country, so that if annually we were getting 1 million tourists because of the cathedral, would that move to $1.5 million, 1.5 million visitations? I doubt. I think that those who are already coming, if there's a cathedral, they will go and see it anyway. Some will go and see it. But as to whether the cathedral in and of itself would draw mass audiences, I think that can only happen if Ghana had a narrative of Christianity that was unique. And had several things that could be connected to that national cathedral narrative. So it's not just the national cathedral, it's about something in the north, it's about something in the east, it's about the whole narrative of Ghanaian Christianity. Is Ghanaian charismatic churches more vibrant than Nigerian charismatic churches, for example? So my point is that we cannot bet our hopes on just the singularity of the vision of the National Cathedral as the holy grail of tourism for us.
Interesting.
So back to my question, if we're sitting on the table to discuss how to utilize $500 million, would the National Cathedral have been the way? That's why I doubt whether it would have been the way. Cost of curation hasn't even come in. If we want to get those really priced items that will give this cathedral some kind of respectability, it will probably go beyond more. So even I'm just using that figure to say, if we had the most significant amount of money to spend on one or a transformative project, should it be the cathedral? And if we had started from that point, I don't think we would have ended with the decision to go with the National Cathedral. So it boils down to the fact that it is the president's vision. And for me, this one thing that we are picking from this is that if our leaders are fixated on particular ideas, like how Nkrumah was fixated on a number of transformative ideas, we can see change. So the reason why Africa hasn't transformed is not because our leaders are unable to fixate about issues, is because it's about the things they decide to fixate on.
Okay.